In for another game rewind, Cory McCartney along with Grayson Rosen, and we are taking you back to the National Program Invitational, the 15U division. To be specific there, as we've got a matchup between the East Coast Sox and 6'4" DP and Grayson. Every player who takes the field in this game ranked in their respective states.
Yeah, it's extremely impressive to look at these two lineups, and obviously it's very nice to get to spotlight some of our local Georgia guys, but as well, look all around the nation, especially the Southeast on this East Coast Sox team. A lot of talent on display.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lineups and how these teams will roll out in this quarterfinal action from the MPI. Leading off for 6'4" Cougars is center fielder Win Hoots. He'll be followed by second baseman Evan Brand. Then it's third baseman Jackson Allen. Hitting fourth is Austin Tambora, the right fielder. Amari Griffin hitting fifth is the DH. Hitting sixth is extra hitter Frankie Boyle. Then it's catcher Kyle Montgomery. Griffin Long, the extra hitter, hitting eighth. Hitting ninth is left fielder Teddy Gerard. Hitting 10th, Anderson Eastham, the first baseman. Jaden Whiteside, the shortstop, hitting 11th. Samuel Kuntz, the right-hander, will be on the mound. Meanwhile, for East Coast Sox, it's Stephen Bobo, the center fielder, leading off, followed by right fielder Ricardo Hurtado. Then it's Matthew Kelly, the shortstop. Then DH Trent Buckley, Jace Riggin, the third baseman. Caden Coleman, left fielder, hitting sixth. Hitting seventh is second baseman Anthony Diaz. Patrick Hassan, the extra hitter, hitting eighth. Hitting ninth is first baseman Brody Wilson. Behind the plate and hitting 10th is Eli Quinley. And on the mound will be the right-hander Trent Buckley. So let's go ahead and head on out to the field for this game rewind. It'll be Win Hoots, followed by Evan Brand and Jackson Allen at the plate for 6'4" DP. They're going to be facing off against Trent Buckley on the mound, 6'2", 204. He's the #1 ranked player in Mississippi, number 11 among right-handed pitchers in the nation, 49th overall in the class. You're going to see fastballs up around 91, curveball set 77 to 79, slide around 75 to 79. 2024 future gamer, so his summer would culminate with a spot representing Mississippi here at the future games, and certainly a lot to like when you look at the frame here, Grayson, and this obviously, as I mentioned, the #1 ranked player in Mississippi.
Yeah, we definitely lucked out in this appearance here, getting a look at Trent Buckley. He is fantastic. Like you said, the 91-mile-per-hour fastball obviously kind of jumps off the page. He's the number 11 right-handed pitcher in the nation, and when you're already going into the 90s and you're, this summer he's playing 15U ball, he's about to go into his sophomore season in high school. It's so impressive to see, and just to get to see these guys go at it is pretty phenomenal.
A player at the plate that I ended up being a real big fan of by the end of the summer, and Win Hoots out of Westfield, the 11th ranked outfielder in Georgia, 44th overall, Exit velos around 88.2, bat speed 72.2, runs a 6'7", 60. He'd find himself at the 2023 junior feature games, and was part of the South Georgia ID that the Georgia Scouts got a look at in November. And just a guy who, I think you look at it, a kid who just flat out hits.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And like you mentioned, that 60 time, he gets around the base paths really well. Win Hoots is an exciting player to watch.
Puts that one on the ground. First baseman has it, flips over to Buckley, and they will get him to ground out for the first out. We'll see plenty more of Win Hoots as this game moves along. And now we're going to get a look at Ricardo Hurtado.
Evan Brand.
Oh, excuse me, Evan Brand. I'm flipping, looking at the #2 hitter for East Coast Sox.
I'm
pretty sure I got to be.
Yeah.
He's got to come in here and sting me for getting that part wrong. But Hurtado playing right field, right now for East Coast Sox. But yeah, as you mentioned, Evan Brand out of Kell High School. We will see Kell during the Georgia Dugout Club tournament. So this series of game rewinds that we're doing coming to an end with this game. So if you're listening to this live when it's on our broadcast. We will have live baseball beginning February 14th and 15th here at Lake Point Sports. A week later, we'll have 2 more days on that Friday and Saturday as Brand puts that one on the ground. Second baseman has it, fires in time for the second out. Definitely excited to have those Georgia Dugout Club tournaments across those 2 weekends. We were looking at the players. It is absolute insanity when you look at the number of top 100 players in the state of Georgia that we have in the classes of 25, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, and then, it doesn't just end with weekend 1. Weekend 2 is arguably just as, if not more, star-studded with the kind of names that we're going to have up here on campus. So definitely a must-watch event, whether you can make it up here to watch it in person or catch our live streams on Friday and Saturday. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, Josh Gibbs, John Stutzer will be headlining weekend 2. So we're just getting started with weekend 1. That's going to have, of course, the likes of Reed Worley out of Cherokee stepping onto the mound here, potentially for one of the last times that we'll see him. here at Lake Point Sports. So it's going to be an exciting weekend, so make sure you get out here. You will see a number of guys who will be making an impact a year from now, if not at the collegiate level, on some minor league baseball fields across the country. Here is Jackson Allen now at the plate out of North Atlanta, 9th-ranked third baseman in Georgia, 99th overall in the class of 2027. Skips away from the catcher. He almost jumped right over top of his head.
Yeah, and if you're watching this and the first thing you notice is, wow, he's really tall. He is. He's 6'5". And we got to see this 6'4" team a lot throughout the summer, and this kid hits. It's tough to see at a young age a guy at that size kind of have the body control to have some, a smooth swing and smooth movement in the field. But he's definitely got it. It's a special frame that he's got.
6'5", 195 pounds. He is absolutely all legs. Between him and Trent Buckley on the mound, this is some tall specimens that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, you almost have to wonder if those pants are the right length or not.
Gets him on the strikeout there with the 77-mile-an-hour breaking ball. A very quick inning there for Trent Buckley and East Coast Sox. We'll see them at the plate when we return from this Game Rewind.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect, I'm the man in command, come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
It's Samuel Kuntz's turn on the mound for 6'4" Cougars. He's going to be facing off against Stephen Bobo, the aforementioned Ricardo Hurtado, and Matthew Kelly, the Miami commit here for East Coast Sox. Our first look here at Bobo at the plate. Bobo from Shelbyville Central in Tennessee. A number of players throughout the Southeast and a couple of Californias, by the way, on this East Coast Sox team. They got players from Alabama, California, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Mississippi. Again, as I mentioned in the offset, every one of them ranked in their respective states. Bobo is the 25th ranked outfielder in the nation, 108 overall, and he's number 6 in Tennessee in the class of 2027.
Was that a foul ball that came in?
I have no idea
tell where that ball came from.
Yeah, looking down at my notes here for a second. But Bobo was Tennessee preseason All-State in both 2025 and 2024, so some big expectations here. I would anticipate this is a guy you're going to see here in late July for the future games representing Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely a special talent. He's an outfielder and a left-handed pitcher, which will always be utilized as left-handed pitching. So a guy that I'm sure we will get very familiar with.
Kuntz on the mound out of Holy Innocents here in Georgia. It's in for a strike. Every one of these players, by the way, for 6'4" is a Georgia kid. Mentioned all the states making up this roster for East Coast Sox. But Kuntz up to 81. He's primarily an outfielder. He's the 80th ranked outfielder in Georgia, 334 overall. Talked about this at Super 60 with some guys. When you're ranked in specific states, you may be 334 in the state of Georgia as that one's on the mound. Shortstop has it, gathers, throws. Not in time as he's able to leg that one out. See the wheels of Stephen Bobo as he's able to get himself an infield single to get things started for East Coast Sox. Some nice speed down the line. But I mentioned there's some states where you may be ranked down the line in that state, but if you were to put that same player in a different state, it could be a completely different topic. And I think Georgia, Florida, Texas, and California are definitely among those.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys in Georgia that your ranking maybe goes into like the 30s in Georgia, and you're still nationally in the top, 500 guys. So
yeah,
it's pretty impressive to see that wealth of talent in this state. And 6'4" is one of those programs that's certainly always been around. They've always had players coming out of that program that go on to the next level and are some of the top players in Georgia. So definitely one to keep paying attention to.
Ricardo Hurtado now at the plate out of Powerhouse, and I say Powerhouse, underline Powerhouse, Orange Lutheran High School in California. He's the 4th ranked outfielder in California, 17th overall, number 32 at his position at nationally, 137 overall. This one's a 6'8", 460. Exit velo is near 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, Orange Lutheran, one of those perennial top teams in the nation over in California, which is just so stacked with talent. That one's a ground ball to second base to get the one at first, and not in time.
Yeah, it does not get Hurtado, so he'll be standing at first base. You mentioned the lineage of 6'4" DP. I was talking to Hudson Graham, the Prep Baseball Georgia scouting director, while we were at Super 60. He was in an event on Saturday that 6'4" held. Charlie Condon, a 6'4" alumni, was there, who obviously has gone on to make quite a name for himself, a very early pick in this last summer's MLB draft after a standout career at University of Georgia.
Yeah, and even he was like a guy that maybe didn't get the love that he expected maybe coming out of high school, but, goes on his way to Georgia and makes a difference for sure.
From one California kid to another, this is Miami commit Matthew Kelly at the plate, one of the rare 2026s in this game. He comes in 6'2", 173 pounds. He's the 107th ranked player in 2026. He's primarily a shortstop, number 26 at that position nationally.
Yeah, and something interesting, I think potentially Matthew Kelly reclassified, because I went to his Twitter just to try and get some info on maybe why the California kid's joining the team, and just about everything now is saying that he's a 2027. So not too sure what might have changed here for Matthew Kelly, the Miami commit, but I believe he is a 2027.
Okay, so a reclassification by Matthew Kelly, so playing against his peers then as opposed to playing over them, but age-wise would obviously able to take advantage of that and reclass himself to 27. That's an interesting thing, because when we were, again, at Super 60, we were talking to a couple of players who had reclassed and moved themselves up to be able to be draft eligible potentially this summer. I think we get so caught up in the baseball side of it that you wonder what these guys are giving up from a personal standpoint, and what you're going to look back on 10, 15 years down the road and be like, I never got to go to junior prom. I put everything down on 1 year. That one's the short, gathers, throws a second for 1 out. Throw to first is
not in time again.
He's pulled off the bag,
okay,
man.
Yeah, they're saying he came off the bag, but that's a huge asset that the East Coast Sox is going to have in this game is speed, and we've seen it right here. This inning should be over.
Yeah.
If you're looking at how they were moving around on the base paths, but you avoid the first out with an infield single, you avoid the next one on a fielder's choice, and then another fielder's choice. It's pretty impressive stuff we're seeing out of the speed out of the box right now for East Coast Sox, and also the left-handed bats being a big part of that.
And another guy who embodies both of those things now stepping to the plate, and Trent Buckley, who you saw on the mound to start things off for East Coast Sox. He's a guy who 6'2", 204 pounds, but also runs a 6'8", 760. I mentioned he's the #1 ranked player in Mississippi, and we will see him in action here.
99.5 exit velo max for him, so not just a pitcher, that's for sure.
Guy who runs it up to 91, exit velo's near 100, bat speed at 78 in, as I mentioned, that 60 time. He's definitely a special player. And he was on the 24 big boy future game team for Mississippi as a 2027, so I imagine he will probably be back this summer.
Yes, always impressive to see the class of 2027s or just any of those younger guys that make it onto the future games rosters.
Well, talking to Hudson Graham, I bring him up again, but they had Caden Dawson from Blessed Trinity, who was playing a year up as the #1 player in Georgia in 2027 in last year's future games team. Same thing with Lash Henderson playing a year up. And those scouting directors told me you like to have a guy who almost becomes like the figurehead for the following year's team.
Yeah.
And they come here and they get the experience. Then they get to go around the whole next year and tell all their buddies who are the same age, like, dude, you got to come to future games this next summer. It's so much fun. And I think that kind of helps them be able to attract. And obviously the recruiting rules are allowing a different kind of player to be here now, as that one's going to go to second, gathers, throws. He is not in time, and the same thing, man. What in the world is Trent Buckley is able to run that one out on a ball that's just hit on the edge of the grass there, and we are seeing some insane speed here on display from East Coast Sox in the first.
Yeah, this is incredible to see what East Coast Sox is doing right now, just eliminating kind of routine outs. And I think, they're just putting the ball in play and making things happen, something that maybe is an underrated thing now when you look at how baseball is being played, but you're just making it happen right now. And obviously you haven't got any runs out of it, but you're making your pitcher work early in this game, and in the bottom of the first, you're at least making something happen.
Well, it helps, too, when you're putting absolute athletes at the plate. And here's another one in Jace Riggin, who's playing third base today, but he's ranked as a shortstop, #9 in Florida, which we go to back to a state where you're ranked at a specific position in that state, it may seem a little bit deeper, but you put him somewhere else, and Lord knows how high up he's going to be, but he's number 70 at the position nationally, 252 overall. Another guy who can absolutely move, and we'll see if Jason Reagan follows suit here, where he's got 2 on with 2 out.
Yeah, like it's just amazing to see a guy who's 32nd overall in his state and 252nd overall in the nation.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like it should work that way, but yeah, it's those couple of states that are just so wealthy in talent.
Coons fires. That one's going to miss high to Riggin.
And I think the big thing about just getting these base runners, obviously you're extending an inning that, especially if you're Coons on the mound, you wish it was over, and you think it should have been over at this point, because you've been pitching for outs for sure. But now you have to deal with these base runners on, and yes, there is 2 outs, but there's still a lot to deal with here.
A quick kick there on the turnaround as he's keeping Kelly in his place at second.
Kelly not afraid to be aggressive right there at second base, as we can see.
To the long holdup, delivers. That one's going to be in for a strike.
Yeah, just catches the outside corner. I think a lot of that has to do with this arm side movement that you're going to get out of this pitching motion from Coons on the mound. Just kind of falls right back in and catches the corner on that pitch.
79 mile an hour on that, caught looking for the second strike. So he does here on the, that was on the ground. Shortstop on the run, gathers, throws on the run, and able to get a nice play at shortstop there, man. Some good-looking play there from Jaden Whiteside at shortstop to wrap things up. And we are through an inning. We're scoreless in this game rewind from MPI. We'll be back from Lake Point Sports.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Trent Buckley out for his second inning of work in this scoreless matchup from the National Program Invitational. Austin Tambora at the plate for 6'4" Cougars, and he'll be followed by Amari Griffin and Frankie Boyle. Tambora, a player that we, again, will see here for the Georgia Dugout Club tournament, as he and North Cobb Christian. Man, North Cobb Christian, you start looking at the 2027
yes,
class.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're going to be in for another one of their runs. I think in 2 years we're going to be talking about them being a team that is vying for a state championship in Georgia again. They were not far removed from one when they had Jackson Ugla and company, but they are definitely primed for another run with a lot of really young talent, strong young talent, and Austin Tambora, who's the 3rd-ranked outfielder in Georgia, 13th overall in that class of 2027, headlining all of them.
Yeah, he's a fantastic talent that we're looking forward to seeing up here in week 1. But I think overall, like North Cobb Christian, obviously they just dominate. They have so much talent on that team, and they play in a relatively low classification as well. I believe they're in 2 or 3A, as opposed to some of your other big private schools that still play up in the classifications. Blessed Trinity competing at the highest level in 6A now. I think, some people maybe have their words to say about a team that, is essentially able to recruit players to play for them and still play at a low classification, but you can't doubt the success of North Cobb Christian.
Tambora will look to continue that. It runs a 6.960. He puts a check swing on that, and they give it to him. They did give it to him. Austin Tambora going down on strike, so we'll see a little bit more of the 3rd-ranked outfielder in Georgia later. Now here's definitely another special talent, Amari Griffin. And Amari's the DH today, but this guy on the mound, the #1 left-handed pitcher in Georgia, 7th overall, #9 left-handed pitcher in the nation. fastball around 89, changeup 79, curveball 69 to 71, and man, this guy's an absolute treat, and he's 6'4", 485 pounds, and can get done at the plate.
Yeah, he is exactly what you're looking for as you're looking at the early high school years for a left-handed pitcher, especially. He's got the build. He's already got the velo. It's extremely impressive what he's already able to do and what he's going to continue to do.
And I don't mean to. I say this as no degradation to Amari Griffin, who again I think is a special player. But I think people look at Dexter McLeon Jr. in the class of 2028 as that guy who can be that player from the both sides, the left side on the at the plate, lefty on the mound. And you look at Griffin, it's maybe just a tad bit below that.
Sure.
But all the talent is right there for him to be a very, very special player in Georgia in 2027.
Yeah, and I think the most important part is just continuing to grow and knowing that there are things that you can constantly be improving in your game. And I think Amari Griffin year over year is going to continue to do that, just like Dexter McLean would in that freshman class.
Yeah, Holy Innocents primed for their own bit of a run here. As they got multiple players in this game for Holy Innocents, and Griffin the headliner.
Trent Buckley just working so well right now up there on the mound.
Yeah, just nice and smooth. Definitely knows what he wants to do up there. He's got himself a plan, and Amari Griffin goes down on strikes, and that was just a vicious 78-mile-an-hour breaking ball out of the hands of Buckley as he gets himself his second strikeout of this inning. Now here comes Frankie Boyle. Boyle from Winder Barrow High School, the home of Brady House. First-round draft pick by the Washington Nationals. My first summer here at Lake Point Sports was the the COVID summer, and we had Brady House here as part of the area code games, and man, that guy, just a very, very special player. Saw him over in our south quadrant of fields over there, and he parked a home run on top of our maintenance building, and it just smacked the roof, and it was, man, that guy can absolutely hit, and the Washington Nationals took advantage of that. I expect him to be at the major league level in very short time. It's in for a strike. I believe he was in the top 20 in the MLB pipeline, top 100 players in the farm systems right now.
I think we're starting to get to a point where it's like you can name quite a few guys there that have come through this.
Yeah, it was funny.
Facility.
I was looking through the the rankings and the amount of guys that had come through here, and it was just like incredible to look at the amount of players that have been through these fields and made a mark here on their way to those rankings. It's really incredible, and just kind of I think speaks to the level of talent that the prep baseball events attract. And Frankie Boyle, maybe he's going to be next among those guys, the 15th ranked third baseman in Georgia, 192 overall. It's a preseason All-State 2025. So that event was all the way up in Flowery Branch. You think about the drive from Winder Barrow to go to that. That's a
there's a lot of guys that covered some ground. I think there was a couple guys maybe from down in Savannah that made the trek up here to be seen. So it's always nice to see. I got to go to the underclass event and saw a couple of these guys. Extremely impressive to see what these guys are able to do, especially at such a young age. You have, I got to talk with Colin Anderson, the
freshman
2
Etowah,
player, the freshman from Etowah, and like seeing what he's able to do at such a young age. He hasn't even played a high school game yet, and kind of all the conversations are what he's going to do as he continues to go. So fun to see the younger half as well, just showing up and showing out.
2-out walk to Frankie Boyle, and here's Kyle Montgomery, the catcher out of Lassiter, 5'10", 197-pounder. Bats left, throws right. 15th ranked catcher in Georgia, 109 overall. Exit velo is around 93 miles an hour. Another preseason All-Stater for 25. In the first pressure pitches here.
Yeah, Buckley not exactly errant yet, but like we saw in that pitch, just barely missing his spots to the outside. So
yeah, back-to-back strikeouts in this inning, and then he walks Boyle, and now he's got himself in a bit of a pickle here against Montgomery. Another miss high, and he's going to issue his second 2-out walk, and now we're going to have Kennesaw State commit Griffin Long.
Matthew Kelly actually walks up and calls time to bring his infield in and have a conversation. Then coach comes out to join them. So I think we'll just try and calm Trent Buckley down here. You're obviously not going to take him out of the game at this point, but definitely a good time to come out and have a conversation, cool him down, make him take a little bit of a break.
We've thrown 21 pitches in this inning through just 13 in the first inning. Now he's got to deal with Long, as I mentioned, the Kennesaw State commit, the lone committed player on this East Coast, on this 6'4" DP team out of Sonoraville, 176-pounder. Ranked as a right-handed pitcher, he's number 10 in Georgia at that position, 42 overall. Another guy whose summer ended with a spot in the Future Games.
Yeah, he was actually representing the select team at the Future Games, which is kind of a fun team to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a group of kind of guys from all over the place that end up kind of getting all thrown together. And you obviously had a bunch of the Hawaiian players as well in the select team. So it's a fun team to follow along with throughout that week.
And I think it, too, I mean, look, some of these states, we mentioned the amount of talent of some of these states. They have more players than they can fit onto a team in some of these, and it provides opportunities for some of these guys to fall into that select group and pick things up there. I know California, Utah, some of the other states like that have been able over the years to put players on those teams, but Missouri, but Georgia definitely a state that I know the work of Hudson Graham and Ian Smith, that sometimes they have more players than they have need for. As that one is on its way into right field, that's going to be down, and here comes the first run for 6'4" DP. So Griffin Long, the Kennesaw State commit, coming through and showing why his summer would end at the Future Games.
Yeah, great work by Griffin Long, just putting that one out in the outfield, but great work overall in this inning by 6'4". You go down 2 outs early on 2 straight strikeouts, and then you fight back with a walk, a hard-fought at bat as well for the walk, and then 4 straight balls for the walk on Montgomery, and now you're sitting with runners on the corners, and you just scored the first run of the game.
Well, we talked about it earlier with Tambora at the plate, this North Cobb Christian 27 class. Here's another member of it in Teddy Gerard, outfielder, 34th ranked outfielder in Georgia, 127 overall in 27. 6'3", 190-pounder. He's going to try to keep the chain rolling along here for 6'4", who have now taken a 1-0 lead. Skies that one back foul.
I think now for Buckley, obviously you issued the 2 walks, and then now you give up the single. You really should be still pitching to contact. You don't have to be too worried about the strikeout.
Oh, runner's taken off. That one's over top of his head. Second baseman stops it from going any further, but another run is going to score for 6'4" DP, and you don't often see that. Eli Quinley behind the plate for East Coast Sox. Typically that's in that situation where you've got a runner at third in a game like this with this level of athlete. A lot of times you're running a trick play. You're going to have somebody cut across. It's going to grab that throw. Maybe you're throwing it to second. Maybe you're throwing it to short. But very rarely are you going to see them sail it like that. But 6'4" DP able to take advantage, and they now find themselves up 2-0.
Yeah, I think that was just kind of a panic moment. He didn't realize that the runner was going, looks up, sees that he's going, and I think maybe forgets that he has a runner still on third and makes a throw, an errant one as well. A bit of a tough spot there. You don't really want to see that happen, especially for your pitcher and for the rest of your team when a guy just kind of has a lapse of judgment right there.
Well, that swing and a miss is going to run the count full. Next pitch will be the 43rd for Buckley, the 30th of the inning.
Yeah, this inning a little bit harder fought than he might have thought after those first 2 at-bats.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts to start things off, then back-to-back walks. Then we see the RBI single from Long, and then Gerard now at the plate. A throw from the catcher able to result in the second run for 6'4". Could have been a lot worse. That ball could have gotten away at the second baseman had it cutting off. We probably would not see a runner standing at second right now, but see if Gerard's able to cash in, and he does not. He goes down on strikes, caught looking at that 85-mile-an-hour fastball, so able to limit them to 2 runs, but that is the lead for 6'4" DP when we return from MPI.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage. And keep it juicy.
Boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty mic.
plate for East Coast Sox, trailing 2-0. We'll see Caden Coleman, Anthony Diaz, and Patrick Hassan. Samuel Coons out for another inning of work. Had himself a bit of a layoff there as his squad scored 2 runs to take the edge. Oh, it hits Coleman. Did it hit Coleman? No, it went right behind.
Went right behind him.
Okay, right behind him. So we'll get a little bit more time with Caden Coleman, the 8th-ranked shortstop in Florida, 30th overall, 63rd in the nation at his position, 226 overall in the class at 27.
Yeah, I think Coons kind of lucked out with the arm side movement there. Got out of the way of the hit by pitch.
That's a uneasy at bat so far for Caden Coleman, as that second one is fouls off his bat on a defensive swing. So has a pitch go behind him for ball 1. Has a weirdly struck ball off of the check swing for strike 1, and now we have a 1-1 count. See what the Archbishop McCarthy
that time
fielder does. He's going to get hit that time. So just 3 odd pitches out of the hands of Coons, and Coleman finds himself at first base. And now here comes Anthony Diaz, his high school teammate and second baseman.
Yeah, that was just an odd at bat for Coons. We haven't really seen him get too wild, and typically he's able to reel it back in, but that was a bit of an oddity.
He faced a lot of lefties in that first inning, though. I mean, you think with that arm angle, is he a lot more comfortable against lefties than righties, where he's probably going to get a little bit more run on it, and you might find yourselves in trouble, as he did on 3 pitches against Coleman. See what he does against Diaz. That one's right up the middle, the way of the outstretched glove of the pitcher. That's the second for 1 out. They do not get the double play as Coleman's taken out at second.
I think you can live with that one, unlike in the first inning. That was a tough one to make, but good work there at short and second base to get that force out.
So here's the lone Georgia player on this East Coast Sox squad out of north of Coney, Patrick Hassan. 9th-ranked shortstop in Georgia, 23 overall, number 62 in the class. We'll have a conversation here. Were they looking for an interference call at second base?
I think that's what they were saying, is that the player that was sliding into second base may have slid towards the player trying to make the play and impeded on him. But I think with how close it was, you can't really blame him for trying to make it into second base. If it was a little bit more obvious that he was going to get out there at second, then maybe you have a claim for it. But I don't think you can really make too much of a call there on interference, because it was a close play.
Holding the home plate umpire back as they continue this conversation. If I'm an umpire and I got a coach out there, and I'm telling the other guy to come up there, because I think if things get a little bit hairy and you got to toss somebody, I think you want to have somebody else that can hear exactly what was said. But nonetheless, we'll roll on with a runner at first in the form of Anthony Diaz, and here again is Patrick Hassan from north of Coney, 2025 preseason All-Stater here in Georgia.
Yeah, interesting thing, just rankings-wise. Patrick Hassan, the 62nd ranked shortstop in the nation. Caden Coleman, who is on the base paths, just got out on the base paths at second base, the 63rd ranked shortstop in the nation. So back-to-back the shortstop rankings here in this East Coast Sox lineup.
You think Caden Coleman says, you think you're better than me?
Yeah, maybe they have to go head-to-head in practice one day.
Well, after Hassan, we're going to get a look at Brody Wilson. 93.9 exit velos for Hassan. The amount of shortstops on this team, swing and a miss, really stands out, because we talked about the athleticism and showing the speed. I think you figure you throw a bunch of shortstops together and just let them work themselves out, and everybody find a position, everybody be an athlete. Diaz takes off for second.
I think they might have called him on the ball. He picked up his back foot.
All right, regardless, Anthony Diaz is now at second base, so a runner in scoring position for East Coast Sox, trying to strike back in this one. Going to do so with Hassan at the plate. Yeah, I have to say, Kuntz has not looked nearly as comfortable in this inning as he did in the first one, but again, he was facing a lot of left-handed bats.
Yeah, I think it's almost interesting on the East Coast Sox side to kind of front load your lineup with lefties, but I guess when you're going to be facing a lot of right-handed pitching for the most part, front loading with lefties is certainly not a problem, but it seems like you're getting the most production right now out of the righties.
They got 1 out, 1 on. Oh, just misses. It looked
Yeah,
like
that
it
was
was
a close
right
one.
on the line there. That fastball at 79 miles an hour is going to run the count full. Here's pitch number 29 for Coons. Rips that one. Man, absolute rope down the line, foul.
Yeah, Hassan's just been waiting his turn here in this
Yep.
at-bat, and maybe got a little antsy on that one.
He's gone fastball, breaking ball, fastball, breaking ball, fastball. What does he do here?
If I have to follow patterns, I'm going breaking ball, but we'll have to see.
See what Coons does. He does go breaking ball, but that one misses wildly as Hassan's going to make his way down to first on the walk, and meanwhile Diaz has advanced to third. We'll get a look now at Brody Wilson, and things have gone awry for Coons in this inning.
Yeah, definitely take a moment here and take a breath. I think is the biggest thing. Just calm down, try and get back to your game.
Talk about prep baseball resumes. Brody Wilson absolutely brings one. The second-ranked right-hander in the state of Alabama, 7th overall in the class of 2027. He's 33rd at that position nationally and 135 overall. But he was a 23 and 2022 junior feature gamer. In the last 2 years, he's been a South Alabama preseason All-State.
Definitely kind of doing the prep baseball car wash.
6'1", 192-pounder. Mentioned ranked as a right-handed pitcher, but he's got exit velos around 94.5 with a 75-mile-an-hour bat speed. So this guy's got two-way potential for sure as he ropes that one into center field. Center fielder has it on the run. Diaz taking off for home, and he's going to be in time. Man, what in the world does throw all the way over to first base?
Yeah.
So now we got runner taking off for second. So you got Wilson now standing. You got that was Hassan now standing at second base off the walk.
Little confused by the decision making there. First baseman wasn't covering first. I think they were just assuming the throw was going to go home on the tag up, but I understand why you would try to go to first, but it didn't seem like Hassan necessarily was too far out, leading off and having to go back, and now finds himself on second base anyways.
I gave Hassan the walk, but that was actually a drop third. They said that he got the swing and the miss on the box score. So a strikeout for in that instance for Coons, but ends up in a runner on second base, and they've got now a run has crossed the plate for East Coast Sox in what's now a 2-1 game. And now here's Eli Quinley. Quinley going to be trying to make up for that throw that he had down to second base that resulted in a run scoring for 6-4-3 in the top of the inning.
Yeah, luckily you've gotten some back here that helps you out.
Intel here on Quinley out of Faith Academy in Alabama. Brody Wilson's high school teammate, by the way. Third-ranked catcher in Alabama, 34th overall. He was very similar to Wilson, was a 23 future gamer in the last 2 years, a South Alabama preseason All-State. Only one junior feature game appearance at 2 by Wilson. I'm sure he holds that over him. Again, I mean, I think you look at, you start piecing together an Alabama feature games team.
Yeah.
I think there's a very good chance Brody Wilson and Eli Quinley are on that squad.
Yeah, we've talked about the programs that feed in for these future games rosters, and obviously Excel Blue Wave kind of monopolizes the
Sure
future
does.
games roster for Alabama. But there's plenty of talent all over the Southeast. They're playing at programs all over the Southeast, and these are definitely two of those big talents.
When they can cash in here, with Hassan at second. Sends that one foul. I mentioned being at Super 60 over the weekend in Chicago. I think I came down with a little bit of something from being there, sitting on the vocal cord, so I apologize for that. I had to do a lot of talking over a couple days there, so that'll do it to you.
Yeah, in case anybody hasn't really, tuned into coverage of Super 60 or kind of what comes out of it, it's nonstop.
It was a lot. That one's on the ground. Somebody did something with it. I'm unsure what happened, but the ball is sailing. Here comes the second run for East Coast Sox. And, man, we've got a tie ball game. Seen some errant throws here by 6-4-3. We talk about this all the time. When you have a team that's been together as opposed to a team of kids from all over the place. And how do you build that chemistry? These 6'4" guys play together all the time, so a few errant throws there are surprising, I think, from a squad that spends as much time together as this team does.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is just that East Coast Sox is putting in more effort. When you look at how they're running on the base paths, even in that first inning, they didn't score any runs, but they put in the effort, and you saw that, okay, at some point they're going to break through. This is where they break through, and it's off of these small errors that happen and whatnot. And we even saw 6'4" capitalize on a bit of a miscue in the last inning. But I think what it comes down to is East Coast Sox is putting in the effort. They're making 6'4" make the plays, and when you do that, you just cause more opportunity for errors to be made, and now you're scoring runs.
Well, the score is now 2-2, and we are back to the top of the order for East Coast Sox with Stephen Bobo, Shelbyville Central, and Tennessee.
Maybe now with these lefties coming back up, do we see Coons maybe settle back in and try and reel in any last bits of this inning he's still got?
Yeah, I mean, I think those righties, and I hate to keep harping on it, but they seem to create some uncomfortable at-bats for him. So with the arm side, with the run that he's getting on that arm slot, it seemingly helps him out a lot more facing off against a lefty. We'll see if that's the case. Just misses on his first offering. A changeup, rare changeup that we've seen out of his hand to Bobo.
Yeah, and you even see just off the start, that first pitch of the at-bat, the catcher sets up on the outside half. This time setting up a little bit closer to the outside, but not nearly as far. And Coons just now hitting the outside half, or outside of the outside half of the plate. But, yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel like right now with his arm angle and the way that this ball moves, you set up more down the middle and let it fall in to the strike zone instead of trying to play the outside.
Well, he's now got a 3-0 count to Bobo. This next pitch will be the 23rd of the inning. 42nd overall for Kuntz. Bobo shows bunt. Pulls back as that one misses high, and he'll make his way down to first base with a walk, excuse me. Now we'll get a second look at Ricardo Hurtado. So we now got 2 on and 2 out.
Looks like we're getting a defensive substitution in right field. You don't see this often in the middle of a game.
Certainly leads you to believe that there could be a pitching change in the works for 6'4" after another walk.
It looks like Austin Tambora that just came in from the outfield.
We'll keep our eyes on Tambora and see if he finds his way onto the mound for 6'4". Meanwhile, we've got Kuntz on the mound. He's now facing off against Hurtado for the second time. Get those back-to-back California players now for East Coast Sox. It's funny that they put their 2 guys from Florida who were high school teammates together in the order, and then they put their 2 guys from California back-to-back together in the order.
Guess maybe you want your guys that are always teammates working together on the base paths.
Hurtado, I think you could easily say, is probably going to be here for California in the future games this next summer. And you hate to look at it like that, such an easy straight line, but I really do think that's a lot of how it works. As you get on the radars, you get on the national radars, you get on your state's radars, and next thing you know, you're one of those guys, and you're seen as one of those guys. And coming from a place like Orange Lutheran, I mean, it's that's par for the course for those guys there. I mean, the amount of alumni that they've had there is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's pretty difficult to even just get graced with the presence of some of these California players when you talk about getting all the way over here to the north metro area of Atlanta.
Yeah, Kuntz scoops that one and sends it off. Yeah, Garrett Cole, by the way, headliner there from Orange Lutheran. So, all right, 2-2 is our score. We'll be back. We've got a tie ball game in the quarterfinals of MPI.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
It'll be Anderson, Esom, Jaden Whiteside in the top of the order, and Win Hoots for 6-4-3 Cougars. We got a 2-2 game here as we roll along in the game rewind from the National Program Invitational. Trent Buckley returns on the mound after a bit of a long layoff for East Coast Sox. That was his 45th pitch as he starts off with a breaking ball.
Yeah, interested to see if 6-4-3 can kind of immediately try and bounce back here and maybe get some of those runs back. But Buckley also, you know, you want to see, can he kind of stay confident throughout this inning and hold himself together all the way through? Because we saw, like we mentioned, he got those 2 strikeouts and then kind of fell apart just a little bit for a couple of bats and then tried to reel it back in, but not after surrendering 2 runs. Sorry. Getting offer. It looks like they say he did not go.
He did not go. Lakeside's Anderson Esom did not go. The 12th ranked right-handed pitcher in Georgia in 27, 87th overall in the class, 6'1", 190-pounder. Got himself a 1-2 count now. Missed low on that fastball, 87 miles an hour. Another miss outside, that a breaking ball. Counts now full.
It almost seems like Buckley is trying to avoid contact. He's pitching all around the strike zone, but not really throwing anything directly down the middle. And I think that kind of contributed to why he had the walk troubles in the last inning, but also why he's getting strikeouts.
Man, he had a fastball on the corner, 84 miles an hour. Caught looking as Anderson Esom as he goes down on strikes, and now here's Jaden Whiteside. Saw Whiteside a couple of really nice plays at shortstop so far in this game for 6-4-3. He had a very busy first inning when they were providing a lot of infield activity there. East Coast Sox was, and showing off their legs on the base pass, and Whiteside was put to work, and his first pitch he sees bounces away, a breaking ball at 77 for ball 1.
Yeah, Buckley opening up these first 2 at-bats with a breaking ball.
Whiteside out of Marietta. He's the 18th ranked shortstop in Georgia, 48th overall. Also gets on the mound where he runs it up to 82. Also 82 exit velos. Bat speed, 84 miles an hour bat speed. I bet that exit velo is probably going to be primed to jump when you talk about an 84 mile an hour bat speed. And I know it's hard to quantify that number, and it's, you know, talking to a lot of the guys, again, at the scouting event this past weekend, these guys are, you know, a lot of these events, they're not using wood bats. And so, you know, an exit velo off of a composite bat is very different than off of a wooden bat. But I think it still correlates when you look at StatCast and you see what the exit velo numbers are for a Giancarlo Stanton or an Aaron Judge. And I think it reflects on the amount of damage these guys can do with these composite bats in their hand to be running up exit velos that are similar to what those monsters are putting up at the major league level. Of course, across 600-plus plate appearances as opposed to a handful that we get from these prep baseball events. But it definitely, I think, it's very helpful in trying to kind of correlate where these guys are at in their player development.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you talk about the equipment, and we see wood bats throughout the summer here until you get to future games, I think the biggest thing is that, you know, maybe that's why you don't see some of these guys, and that was a fantastic pitch to get another strikeout looking.
So back-to-back Ks for Buckley. And
we've seen this before, though.
Fastball. And nearly an identical pitch sequence to what he got Esom out on as he starts off with that breaking ball that, and it finishes off with a fastball on the left side batter's box and gets himself back-to-back Ks.
But what I was getting at with the equipment is that, sometimes a guy who's a power hitter in the high school season and maybe you see him hit really well at future games comes into some of these wood bat tournaments, it just doesn't feel like he has the same kind of pop because that wood bat just really doesn't help. Like, I have a bit of a background with baseball equipment, and I think, like bat performance factor is something people don't really think about. But the .5 bat performance factor on a BB core bat as opposed to nothing on a wood bat is it's a major jump. And I think obviously people know, like, with a metal bat, you're going to get hit further and you're going to get hit harder.
And look, that was why a lot of the conversation last summer was on those Louisville hype fire bats.
Yes,
about
Easton.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Easton hype fire, and the pop that the guys were getting off those bats compared to some of the other BB core bats. It was outlawed in a number of tournaments.
Yep.
It matters. It's certainly a huge factor as when Hoots is now at the plate, shows bunt, pulls back.
It's the strike looking. That seemed like it had some good arm side movement and caught the inside half of the plate.
He's now got himself a 3-1 count. Pitch number 61 for Buckley. Swings and sends that one back foul.
Good work here to fight back to a 3-2 count for Buckley, and we'll see what he offers here.
I equate the creation of baseball bats to NASCAR. Everybody's got their parameters you're looking at in terms of what it's got to, the size it's got to be, the weight it's got to be, but what can you do to differentiate it from everybody else's product? He misses, and we're going to see Hoots make his way down with a walk. Now here comes Evan Brand. See what the holdup here is. Brand was trying to pull that ball out of the padding back there. I'm not quite sure what was going on, but nonetheless, he'll come to the plate with Hoots at first base and 2 out in the inning. 2-2 ball game here in the third inning, the quarterfinals. Brand sends that one into center field on the run. He's able to haul that in. Made it a little bit more interesting than maybe he needed to be, but he's able to haul that in for the out. 6-4-3 with a quick one there. We'll be back with more from MPI.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
It will be Samuel Kuntz back out on the mound for 6-4-3 DP in this 2-2 ball game here in the quarterfinals of the MPI in this game rewind that you're watching. And now going to have Matthew Kelly, the Miami commit, at the plate, and he'll be followed by opposing pitcher Trent Buckley and Jace Riggin. Their miss inside against a righty for Kuntz.
Yeah, exactly how the last time around started. Pitch well inside, made the batter back off, so hopefully not going to repeat last inning if you're Samuel Kuntz. And that was a good pitch. Doesn't look like he got the call, but I thought that was a pretty good breaking ball.
And you know what? Obviously Samuel Kuntz has his approaches on the mound, but you almost wonder when a guy's doing that, do you have him load up a little bit more on the left side of the rubber? As third baseman has it, can he get it there in time?
Couldn't get it out.
Does not. So we're going to see Kelly reach here to start things off in the third inning for East Coast Sox.
Yeah, that was a tough play to make. We talked about body control over there at third base. He's 6'5". It's tough when you kind of have to trap a ball that low down on the ground and then you're trying to get it out of your glove. It's difficult for anybody, let alone a guy who's just massive.
We'll talk about massive and a guy with body control. Trent Buckley, 6'2", 204 pounds, who you've seen carving it up on the mound for East Coast Sox. Now climbs back into the plate here for the second time. Last time we saw him showing off his speed there, that 6'8", 760. Able to leg out an infield hit.
And I think one thing we can recognize right now is that East Coast Sox definitely not worried about power. They're just playing it base to base. You've seen a lot of infield singles. You've seen a lot of reached on errors, a lot of fielder's choice. They're just moving around the base paths however they need to set themselves up for that big breakthrough moment.
Be aggressive, be athletic, and so far East Coast Sox doing it. Runners taking off for second. The throw from
real close.
No, and
called him out.
They called him out. All right, so able to get Matthew Kelly, the Miami commit, out at second base. A close play, but able to get him for the first out. So it puts a little bit more pressure on Buckley there as they nearly had a runner in scoring position. They do not, and number one player Mississippi back to work with one out.
I wasn't sure if Whiteside had gotten the tag down in time. It seemed like Kelly slid in just about on time, but good work by Whiteside to apply the tag right there and do a little more work now. But
yeah, Buckley shoots that one back up the middle for a base hit.
Well, you just replace what you already had right there, and unfortunately it is an out. But East Coast Sox, like I said, playing base to base, trying to make things happen.
North Florida Christian's Jace Riggin now steps in with one on and one out. Riggin puts a swing on this one, ropes it down the left side. That's going to be in for a base hit. Is Buckley going to hold at second base? He, in fact, will.
There you go. There's that quick aggression, small ball kind of style right there. And now you got runners on first and second with just one out and trying to make something happen.
Speaks to Buckley's speed, by the way, that they don't bring in a courtesy runner for him. Are they going to do it now? No, it looks like we may have another conversation here with Kuntz. We saw them bring Austin Tambora off out of right field.
Yeah, and Amari Griffin replaces him.
We'll see if he does. All right, Kuntz is going to leave. We think we've got Austin Tambora stepping on to the mound next for 6-4-3. We'll tell you more when we return from this Game Rewind. It is indeed Austin Tambora out of North Cobb Christian, moving out of his starting spot in right field. Now on the mound for 6-4-3 DP, and got himself a little bit of a situation here with a couple runners on. His team in a 2-2 ball game with East Coast Sox in the quarterfinals of NPI. Tambora with a fastball around 83, changeup around 71, 76, and a curveball that sits 68 to 69.
Yeah, not necessarily a pitcher by trade, but see what he has to offer here. He's a guy who can throw the ball pretty hard, just not really out on the mound much.
Nice breaking ball, but Caden Coleman jumps on that one. That will be caught for an out.
Looks like we're about to have a collision there at second base with Buckley, but.
So we go from Caden Coleman to now his high school teammate Anthony Diaz with another out on the ledger here for East Coast Sox. Again, we got a 2-2 game. Diaz is the only player in this game on either side who does not hold a ranking within their state. And opportunity for him, though, to make some noise as that one drops in for a strike off that 63 mile an hour breaking ball.
Just fell right into the zone. Similar pitch to what just got put into the outfield and caught, but see if
we might have had a tie up here on the signs. I asked you this before we came back. You see Tambora with the bleach blonde hair. That is a staple in the state of Georgia when it comes to the state playoff runs, everybody bleaching their hair.
Yeah, I think you'll see it just about anywhere, really. But, yeah, we definitely see it a lot here in Georgia.
Yep.
We had somebody we interviewed this summer. We interviewed two Connors, Wells and Salerno. I think it was Wells that had gotten. Sorry, I'll stop talking here.
No, good. Diaz gets that one down. Yeah, Diaz gets that ball down.
Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz gets that down, scores a run as Buckley crosses the plate. So now we've got a 3-2 lead for East Coast Sox here. able to put a charge into that fastball, 78 miles an hour off the hand of Tambora, and he parks that one down for an RBI single for East Coast Sox to give them his team the 3-2 lead.
But yeah, Connor Wells was here for 15U national championships, and his die was just finally coming out. When we got there. So,
yeah, him and Connor Salerno were teammates on the Wow Factor team.
Yep, and I think number 1 and number 2 at their positions in the state of South Carolina, and number 1 and 2 in the state.
North Oconee's Patrick Hassan. North Oconee, a team that has absolutely dominated when it comes to the state of Georgia. I don't see any blonde hair poking out of Patrick Hassan's helmet. What do you do if you already have bleached blonde hair? Like if your hair is like a really light blonde, like what do you do?
You just don't do anything. Or you shave it.
There you go.
I have seen some guys that shave the full head for the playoff as well.
The only problem for a lot of these guys is it's like you're getting ready for, like, let's say you got senior pictures and stuff. You got to do that summer, and you went and do that. Luckily for them, like prom's out of the way and all that stuff, and you're getting ready for the summers. Runner's taking off as he sends that foul. But you know, if you're parents and you're getting ready to buy senior pictures or do all the stuff for that last year, and your kid decided to,
that's a good point.
You might have some moms putting the foot down, and maybe Hassan's mom was, because his hair's not bleach blonde.
No, but I also think, you know, some of these guys, if you play on a perennial contender, maybe just keep it bleached year round and just make that your thing.
Yeah, or you just like, we already did that.
Yeah, like if you're one of the guys, maybe you know, like an Etowah team that's been to 3 straight Final Fours, you've probably bleached your hair quite a few times. You might as well do it again.
Well, North Oconee has been a power for years now, so maybe that's just the expectation now that we don't need to play around with our hair. Patrick Hassan going off and gathering himself here for a minute mid at bat. Three-2 lead for East Coast Sox. They saw Anthony Diaz strike an RBI single. See if Hassan can keep building on this lead here as he's facing Austin Tambora, who came in relief for Samuel Kuntz. Swing and a miss on that changeup, man. Great swing and a miss changeup, 69 miles an hour off the hands of Tambora. Ends the inning, but not before. East Coast Sox race out to a 3-2 lead. We'll be back with more from MPI.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
Trent Buckley's day is over on the mound for East Coast Sox after 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Now we got Stephen Kemp on the mound out of Munford High School in Tennessee. The state's 12th ranked lefty, as the first pitch from him goes down the left side foul. He's 101 overall in that state in the class. Fastball up around 81, got a changeup at 71, a curveball around 69 to 70. Last year was a Tennessee preseason All-State. He's facing Jackson Allen, who puts that one on the ground, and that hits off the shortstop's glove and goes into left field. And Jackson Allen gets things started with a single, or we'll call that a single, or we call that, we'll call that a single off of the glove of the shortstop for Jackson Allen to start things off. At least the official scorer called it a single.
Yeah, so we're going to have to go with that. Can't argue the box score.
Austin Tambora took over on the mound for Samuel Kuntz, got himself an inning-ending strikeout. Now he's at the plate for 6-4-3 DP in a 3-2 game.
Yeah, and 6-4-3 chasing some valuable runs they want to get back here. So we'll just kind of have to see. It's a great start, of course, off the bat of Allen, and he kind of makes up for the error he made defensively.
Tambora shows bunt, pulls back. Some for a strike. That one to just 74 miles an hour. I mentioned got Kemp up around 81 as the max, but so far these first few fastballs sitting in the mid-90s. I said mid-90s, mid-70s. He would love
mid-90s.
He would love it. He would love it if he sat in the mid-90s, but they're in the mid-70s, a little bit tick below what we've seen out of him.
Just a bit outside on that pitch.
And that was, again, at 75. Everything so far has been that 74, 75 range. We'll see if he works in that breaking ball. I mentioned he's got a curveball that dips into the 60s.
Yeah, I think for East Coast Sox, you have to keep in mind we're into the quarterfinals of this tournament, so I'm trying to use as little pitching as you can. So maybe you didn't want to necessarily take Buckley out of the game that early, but you bring him out, and maybe Stephen Kemp isn't necessarily your first choice, but he's going to come in here and do his job.
Cameron did not pan back. I would have been interested to see if Jackson Allen just didn't notice that the ball got that far away from the catcher. Because
if I had to guess, that's the case. I don't think he's necessarily all that fast. So if he didn't get a good jump, he might still not have really had a great chance to get out there. And it looks like we just flipped first base and third base, interestingly enough. Or maybe I don't know what just happened. I know somebody just got a new glove, and I just saw somebody run out to the bullpen. So something changed here in the infield for East Coast Sox.
We still have Alston Tambor at the plate, and he'll now make his way down to first base with a walk. So now we're going to have runners at first and second for Amari Griffin.
Certainly not a dream start to your appearance here for Kemp. Coach can come have a word with him.
This late into the tournament, I mean, it's highly likely he logged a bunch of innings earlier in this event, which is, this MPI like this, I mean, you're talking about an event that lasts, up to a week. So, yeah. I mean, this is a long time these guys are here at Lake Point Sports, and pitchers are going to get their innings as you're trying to work your way to potentially the finals, if not the championship, of this bracket play. And, a lot of times we get into bracket play and guys are gone. Like, pitcher will get a lot of innings early in the tournament, and they're like, I already pitched. I'm heading down to another tournament. And you're kind of trying to piece it together late in the run. And luckily for East Coast Sox, they can still bring out guys who are the kind of pitchers who are ranked in their state, which Kemp, again, is the 12th ranked lefty in Tennessee. Just have a little trouble trying to get things rolling here in this relief appearance as he steps off.
I mean, in a tournament this long, to make a run all the way to the championship game, realistically, you're going to need 8 guys probably that can get up on the mound throughout these games, because, look, not everything's going to go your way. That was a great bunt down to third.
Griffin gets that down. Ball gets away from the first baseman. Did he get away from him, or he has the ball? Oh, he does have the ball. It almost looked as the reaction to the second baseman and the first base coach almost looked like the ball got away, but I think they're saying that he came off the bag. But no, Amari Griffin's going to be standing at second baseman. Now we got the bases loaded.
Did they call him safe? Because it seemed like the 6'4" coach was the one.
The 6'4" coach, I think, was saying that he came off the bag.
Okay. He's safe. Okay.
All right, so the bases are, in fact, loaded.
It was great
Frankie
work.
Boyle.
Great work right there. Amari Griffin getting that bunt down. It wasn't even necessarily a perfect bunt, but in the situation, it worked. It forced you to have to make the play to first base, and he forced them to make the errors.
So now they're going to hear the other side of the argument.
As it commonly happens. Especially when you get the guy to change his mind.
Yep.
The other coach is going to have to come out and have a word.
Explanation. I did notice, if you watch when we had the runner at second base and you saw Kemp start that small leg kick and then turn around and make his move, we mentioned when we were watching him warm up, a little unorthodox, but I think there is kind of part of the thinking from him.
Yeah.
If you're able to get that little hesitation kick move and then turn off of that as opposed to a full leg kick.
Definitely, especially when it's the first attempt at that pickoff. If nobody's seen you do that yet, they're not going to expect it at that one hitch. You're going to just stop and change direction if you do it every time. So maybe it is calculated there on the mound for Kemp, but right now in a sticky situation.
He's got Winder Barrow's Frankie Boyle at the plate, 15th ranked third baseman in Georgia, 192 overall in the class of 2026. Remains uncommitted, by the way. Boyle, first pitch swinging. That's over top of the second baseman's head. Here comes one run for 6'4" DP. Here comes one more as Boyle makes his way into second base. He's going to hold there. No, here comes one more run. Frankie Boyle slides into third and got himself a bases-clearing triple He smacks his coach's hand at third, and Frankie Boyle, man, absolutely owning the moment, coming up big time for 6-4-3.
That was amazing. That ball it barely snuck over the second baseman, and it just kept rolling all the way out to the wall, and then you get a rough throw back in out of the outfield, and all of a sudden 6-4-3 way back in control here.
Got themselves a 5-3 lead here now in the fourth inning as Frankie Boyle, man, just first pitch absolutely drills that. Man, he was off and running. That was a 74-mile-an-hour fastball. We mentioned the velo. Hasn't been really high out of the hands of Kemp so far, and he's going to make his way off the mound. And we're going to see a new pitcher for East Coast Sox. We'll tell you more when we return from this Game Rewind. The pitching change for East Coast Sox is now going to give us a look at Brody Wilson. Brody Wilson coming in out of Faith Academy, the second-ranked right-handed pitcher in Alabama, number 7 overall. He's 33rd at the position nationally. Fastball nearly 90 miles an hour. He misses on his first offering. Also got a curveball around 72, 76, a slider 76, 77, and a changeup down to 80 miles an hour. Every one of his pitches over 2,000 RPM. So this is a guy who can absolutely spin it with a pretty deep arsenal. But he comes in after Stephen Kemp exits, did not record an out, 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 1 walk.
And East Coast Sox playing infield in, trying to stop that run from third base, scoring after the triple from Boyle. Got time called at the plate.
Yeah, when Kyle Montgomery gets on, you're going to have to deal with Griffin Long, the Kennesaw State commit, so it's not going to get any easier against this 6-4-3 lineup as that one goes foul. Catcher on the run. Yeah, I mentioned Wilson when he was at the plate, a 23 and 22 junior feature gamer, 25 and 24 South Alabama preseason All-State.
See what he brings here. This is outside.
Yeah, this is the battery for Faith Academy. You got Eli Quinley behind the plate, Brody Wilson on the mound. These two awfully familiar with one another. Wilson misses high and issues a walk to Montgomery, and here comes Griffin Long. A courtesy runner for the catcher.
Definitely a great offensive inning for 6-4-3. Exactly what you wanted after some just tough spots that you found yourself in a couple of these last few innings, but fantastic offensive performance right here.
Sonoraville's Griffin Long, again, a Kennesaw State commit, 2026. Yeah, I don't know that you can really say enough about the job that Ryan Coe, Kennesaw State coach, took over about 3 years ago. The job that he's done in keeping local kids.
Yeah.
You know, and it's obviously it's such a baseball-rich area in Metro Atlanta. And I think, you know, there's obviously, you know, there's going to be guys who want the ACC, want the SEC, but then there's a lot of guys who want to be a little bit closer to home, and they want to stay in this environment, like the situation a little bit more, and like a place where they feel like they can potentially get immediate playing time, which is a huge factor right now. And Ryan Coe is most certainly doing that at KSU, and Griffin Long, part of that 2026 class that he'll be looking to sign a year from now.
Yeah, I think Coe came in right at the perfect time for Kennesaw State. You know, we see a couple years ago with the run trying to find themselves a spot. I think they got a regionals spot, maybe a super regionals spot, but you also had this shift from the ASUN to now the Conference USA, and I think that's such a big thing for recruits That was a great pitch right there.
Yeah, Griffin Long goes down on strikes. We're finally seeing Brody Wilson finding his groove a little bit as he comes in relief.
But I think, when you look at recruiting, especially in the state of Georgia, some of these guys might be a little bit more interested knowing now, okay, we're going to get to play a Conference USA schedule and really a full kind of division. Like when you think Division I, you think of more of these schools rather than the type of teams you're going to see in the ASUN that Kennesaw State was formerly in.
Well, I mean, I think if you look at him, that one's popped up. It's going to be on the run. Center fielder has it. Runner's taken off from third. The throw is in time.
What
Absolutely
a
mowed
throw.
him down. Man, a dart from center field is going to end it. Deny 6-4-3. We're going to have plenty more conversation as we're going to, just sit here and let that one kind of settle in. Man, an absolute dynamite play from center field. We'll be back with more from this Game Rewind.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back to the quarterfinals of the MPI in this Game Rewind, and we have seen East Coast Sox find themselves in a hole now as 6-4-3 DP came through a big-time moment. Frankie Boyle with a 3-run triple has his team out. 5-3 is the lead right now as we sit here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Austin Tambora on the mound. First pitch swinging. That one is
good work
on the
running
run,
that one
man.
down.
Able to get that near the wall and start things off with a very loud out for Brody Wilson, who was the new pitcher for East Coast Sox as he came in relief. And now we're off to his high school teammate, Eli Quinley, the catcher.
Seeing some good leather out there in center field these last two outs that we've gotten. It's a good rundown out there. I believe it's still Win Hoots out there in center field for 6-4-3 and ending off that last inning. I believe that was a throw from Stephen Bobo in center.
Go from Quinley to Bobo, who is now in the on-deck circle.
Certainly riding high,
Yeah.
if I had to guess.
Yeah, just absolutely mowed down the base runner at home. Fantastic throw to set Quinley up to get the out. That one's skied on the run. Right fielder, does he have it? He does not. Quinley's going to make his way to second base. We love catchers who run. Is he going to hold at second? He's not. Eli Quinley out here legging it out for all the backstops and show that catchers are athletes too.
Absolutely
nice job.
Flying right there.
So Eli Quinley with a 1-out triple. Just like that, a stage is set for Stephen Bobo. Get a courtesy runner for the catcher. Not that he just didn't.
Yeah, I think he deserved it after that.
Yeah.
He did the heavy lifting right there, and now he'll hand it off to somebody else to come across the plate. But see what Stephen Bobo has to offer now as the lineup flips back over.
Yeah, after the fantastic throw from center field, he's now got a chance to eat into this 5-3 lead as he throws bunt, pulls back.
6-4-3, not playing infield in with this lead that they've got right now. Just going to prioritize that out at first base, most likely.
He's going to get away from the catcher.
Good block, though, just to stop anything from going to the backstop.
Sometimes infield in feels like prevent defense, though, when you've got a lead. Sometimes you can get yourselves in trouble, and 6-4-3 is not doing that. Tambora delivers, misses. We're getting a lot closer to these days that you see behind with the warmth and the crowds here at Lake Point Sports as Bobo shows bunt, pulls back, and that is in for a strike.
Yeah, I think, at the moment we're in the midst of what I would call the false spring.
Yes,
the
very
first
much
version
so.
of false spring.
Yep.
Where like today the high is like 73 degrees. It feels great. We've got the AC running in the studio. I'm sure you guys can probably hear it buzzing in the background. But every other time we've been coming in here for these last couple months, it's been freezing. And it's going to get right back to it next week. I think starting on Sunday, highs back down in like the 50s.
Bobo draws himself a walk. Runners now at first and second. And this is the way it always happens, right? Like Georgia Dugout Club will get here, and those 2 weekends will be freezing cold.
Of course.
As we get baseball back in action in the state of Georgia.
All we can hope for is that we've got some good weather when the season opener comes around.
That's right. Ricardo Hurtado making his 3rd trip to the plate now as he'll get his first look at Austin Tambora. Tambora taking a long time. First pitch changeup's in for a strike.
Worth the wait. That was a beautiful changeup.
65 miles an hour. For a guy who's not primarily a pitcher, we've seen him do a nice job of changing eye levels, changing pitch speeds. Runner's taken off, and he'll have to retreat as Hurtado fouls that off.
That was a big swing by Hurtado right there.
Yeah, we've seen Tambora be almost around 80 miles an hour, but he's dipped all the way down to 65 with that changeup, and meanwhile he's thrown a curveball that's been down to 63. So he's given him a lot to think about up there, despite lack of a lot of velocity in this appearance. Not that he's not capable of it, but not registering it, at least in this outing, as we've got him up around 83 is the max.
Yeah, it seems like there's just a bit of a miscommunication here between him and the catcher, but seems everything's been ironed out, and we'll get back in action.
His catcher, Kyle Montgomery from Lassiter, is back and resumes his spot. Tambora misses on the attempted breaking ball. Counts now 1-2.
Picks off back to first.
Comes pitch number 13 of the inning, number 22. Since Tambora has stepped onto the mound, another throw over. I never did when I was coaching, but you wonder how many coaches will register throwovers into what they're thinking for pitch counts. There's still stress impacts on the arm. Hurtado sends that one down the side, foul. No, it's going to be right along the line, and first baseman's able to haul that in and get himself an out.
That definitely helps you out, and I think the biggest thing with trying to hold that runner over at first was to preserve the double play. So you probably won't see Tambora giving him that much love over there anymore now with 2 outs in this inning.
Anderson Esom there making the catch at first, and that's definitely in the right spot of the field too. Everything else is baked in sun at the moment, and the one spot where he can camp underneath and find some shade is that first base. Runner's taken off.
Oh, they do throw down.
Montgomery's throw is going to be hauled in by the second baseman.
You see, that's a situation where you can get away with that throw down. Yes, there's 2 outs and a runner on third, but you had the timing. The catcher at least had a chance on that play, and he had the right reaction time to try and make something happen and put in a spot where Jaden Whiteside could have thrown right back to home and probably gotten the runner.
And I think it goes back to the chemistry that you build on teams that have been together, that you understand running that play. You got a guy on the run from second base cutting over that you're able to make that throw if you need to throw home.
Now runners in scoring position with 2 outs.
Kelly puts that in play. The second baseman can't gather it. Here comes a run for East Coast Sox. Are they going to get another one? They do. 2 runs on the board off the bat of Kelly. The Miami commit comes through, and just like that, East Coast Sox striking back.
Super close. Almost made the play there at second base. The kind of diving attempt there to stop it, but good work right there, just sneaking one through. Matthew Kelly making things happen right now for East Coast Sox.
We are all tied up at 5-5. They were able to jump on Austin Tambora here in this inning.
We'll have a quick meeting. See how Tambor is feeling after surrendering those 2 runs there. So it kind of proves important that they were able to get that player over to second base. Obviously, he would not have scored on that hit had he started off at first there. So big work on the base paths there for East Coast Sox.
Well, now we're going to see Trent Buckley, the starting pitcher, is going to come to the plate now for East Coast Sox. Again, they've tied this thing up at 5-5. Tambor is going to continue on the mound. Can tell as much as he's grabbing the rosin and wiping his hands off in his pants, he's having a hard time in this heat of the summer trying to hold on to the ball. Or this event you're talking about, the first weekend in June.
We're all here experiencing this as well.
So Trent Buckley's turn now. Again, Mississippi's #1 player. See if he can add to this big inning for East Coast Sox. They've tied this thing up at 5-5. First pitch swinging, that one goes back foul. Carlsbad, California's Matthew Kelly comes through with the 2-run single to tie this thing up. Should Buckley get on, then we will turn to Jace Riggin. Boy, with the big breath here. Runner's taken off, and Montgomery unable to get that one out of his glove as Kelly takes second.
I think Tambora's biggest worry right now is just don't let this thing get out of your hands. Yep. Really don't want to lose a tie ball game.
Yeah, setting, of course, in the quarterfinals of MPI. Buckley ropes that one down the left side. The left fielder camps underneath it, up against the wall. And he's able to make the play.
Oh, man.
Make it tough out there, nearly up against the wall. But we've got a tie ball game. We're all notched up at 5-5 when we return from Lake Point Sports.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage. And keep it juicy.
Woogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty mic.
Get another look at Brody Wilson on the mound for East Coast Sox in a 5-5 ball game as we sit here in the 5th inning. Get Anderson Esom at the plate for 6-4-3 to start things off. He'll be followed by Jaden Whiteside, and it's the top of the order with Win Hoots.
Good pitch right there to open it up from Wilson. Gets the strike looking.
That was a breaking ball, 73 miles an hour. Esom swinging. Wilson has it himself. He's going to take it all the way to first base. Didn't trust the first baseman, I guess. He said, I got this myself.
And then lost his cleat somehow. Not sure how that happens. Maybe just a little bit of karma.
Yep.
You don't trust your guy at first base.
That's right.
You lose your cleat in the making. I'm going to be honest, if I was a pitcher, I think that would kind of check me out mentally a little.
You'd think so, yeah.
You run over there and you just lose your shoe. Now maybe your momentum's thrown off here.
Not even tying it again. He just slips it back on his foot. Jaden Whiteside now at the plate. Fouls that one off. Marietta 2027, again the 18th ranked shortstop in Georgia, 48th overall. 6'2", 180-pound righty. Make something happen here in a 5-5 game. Defensive swing off that fastball inside at 85. Now got himself an 0-2 hole.
It really switched up the eye level and the speed there when you throw the 75 mile per hour or 74 mile per hour breaking ball in the outside half that he fouls off, and then you get him to swing on 85 up and in. That's a good use right there of your pitch placement.
He goes upstairs with that fastball at 86, and Whiteside wasn't having it, so the count's now 1-2. Oh, Whiteside puts a charge into that one down the left side. Third baseman can't field it. Whiteside showing off those speed as he makes his way past first base. Does he hold it second?
Oh,
He does not. Jaden Whiteside rolling all the way to third base and is going to have himself a triple here coming through for 6'4" 3DP to get him rolling in a 5-5 game.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of triples into the left field corner.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But it seemed like it was maybe some issues fielding that ball out there in the corner, and Jaden Whiteside just absolutely flying around the base paths right there to set things up potentially for another run and to try and take the lead here late in this game.
Yeah, hard hit ball. Third baseman couldn't make a play on it. Dances all the way down into the corner, and Whiteside was just off and running all the way to third. So now we're to the top of the order and Win Hoots. That's in for a strike at 84 miles an hour. Wilson, we got him topping out at 88. Not seen that out of his hands quite yet. That a fastball glances off the bat of Hoots and now counts 0-2.
Yeah, an odd bunt attempt right there, a little awkward.
Last 4 pitches out of Wilson's hands have been fastballs. It goes breaking ball, swing and a miss, 76
Nasty.
mile an hour to get himself the strikeout. So if that play at first base where he lost his shoe took him out of the moment when Jaden Whiteside ends up getting a triple, he's found himself again as he gets Hoots down on strikes.
Yeah, it's right back into it. That was a beautiful 3-pitch sequence right there from Wilson on the mound. You get the strike looking on a ball kind of on the outside half, low in the zone, and then you catch the foul ball up high, and you just really slow things down. You went 84-85 on those first 2 fastballs, and then you throw that 76-mile-per-hour breaking ball and get a nasty swing and miss.
Kells Evan Brand fouls off the first pitch from Wilson. Misses upstairs at 87. Top velocity we've seen from Wilson so far, 87. Counts now 1-1. Got Whiteside standing at third off the triple. Swing and a miss on that changeup. Nice pitch, 79.
Yep. Wilson so composed right now on the mound. You know, despite giving up the triple to lead things off, he's certainly fighting back well.
Brand fouls off the elevated fastball at 87. Counts now 1-2. And we're all tied up at 5-5 here in the 5th inning. This is the quarterfinals of the National Program Invitational. So where Wilson goes in a 1-2 count. Goes back to that elevated fastball, and Brand holds off. That one at 86. Count is now 2-2.
Still looking to make something happen with that big triple with 1 out for Whiteside.
Brand does make something happen, drops that over top of the head of the shortstop. He's going to have himself an RBI single, a now 6-5 lead for 6'4" 3DP as we sit here in the 5th inning, and Brand just loops that in over top of the shortstop, unable to make a play on it, and cashes in on Whiteside's triple.
Yeah, that's good work right there from 6'4" 3. You knew you needed a run, and obviously the triple is kind of a big play that makes things, you know, at least gets things started, but you fight back, and now you score that run. It was huge. Great work from Brand.
Turns it over to Jackson Allen now. Runner at first. Goes fastball down the middle at 83 to run the count to 1-1. 6'4" 3 has taken a 6-5 lead here in the 5th.
27th pitch of the inning here for Wilson.
Allen puts contact on it, ropes it into center field on the run, backtracks, makes it. But we've seen 6'4" DP take a 6-5 lead. We'll see if East Coast Sox can respond when we return from this Game Rewind.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
After a triple and scoring a run, Jaden Whiteside now takes over on the mound for 6'4" DP as they lead 6-5 here in the 6th inning of the quarterfinals of NPI. And we're going to see Whiteside taking a look at Jace Riggins, Caden Coleman, and Anthony Diaz coming to the plate this inning for East Coast Sox.
Yeah, Whiteside just trying to prevent anything from happening. I'm not sure what happened here.
Maybe his hat was not fitting appropriately, or maybe he had the wrong hat, or
I don't know. He looked frustrated as he walked off.
All right,
not too sure what happened there.
Now we're back at it.
I think maybe they got him a tighter hat, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to help with his
He's got
hair.
a lot of hair.
Yeah, we'll see. But trying to just prevent any runs from scoring and hold on to the lead here in the late innings here.
First pitch swinging, Riggin has it on the ground. Shortstop can't gather it.
I guess that's what you see. Whiteside was playing shortstop, and we mentioned earlier in the game he was playing phenomenal there. You make a change. Now Whiteside's on the mound, and you lose that defensive skill there at short, but see if they can make up for it as we continue.
Cade Coleman now at the plate with nobody out and one on. First pitch swinging off Whiteside results in a base hit. Or we're going to call that an error, though, on the box score. In Little League, that would have been a hit.
Yeah.
Breaking ball in for a strike. That one at 67 from Whiteside. We got him at fastball around 82, changeup 69 to 72, and a curveball at 67 to 72. Coleman sends that one foul.
I think 6'4" certainly trying to stop Riggin from potentially advancing to second base, trying to hold that double play in your hand, but see what Whiteside's approach is here with this Coleman at the plate.
That one's high, yeah. Runner's taken off. The throw is in time. Mowed him down at second base.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's textbook right there from Whiteside and from his catcher.
Yeah, Kyle Montgomery mows him down at second base, so that they get the out. So there's now one down for Cade Coleman. You really like Caden Coleman's setup too. I mean, this is a guy who seems to carry himself really well at the plate. But he's going down on strikes as the bat flies out of his hands off that swing and a miss. So now two down.
Happens every game. You try
right.
and compliment a guy, and he just something has to happen when that happens.
I'm sure we'll see Caden Coleman again. Now here's high school teammate Anthony Diaz. Diaz came through with an RBI earlier in the game. Archbishop McCarthy, certainly a team to watch in Florida with these two making up their middle infield. Diaz has to work his way out of the way of that offering.
We've talked about the wealth of talent in the state of Florida. I think there's 100 teams to watch down in the state of Florida for this high school baseball season.
Yeah, Shooter Hunt's down there right now. He left from Super 60 to go to Florida. Man, there's I don't even know how you get around all the talent there. I mean, you know, obviously Jesuit, Stoneman, Douglas. I mean, it just goes on and on with all that state has to offer as that one glances away from Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Prep Baseball's got for their first couple of national rankings for the high school teams, and same goes for Prep Baseball Georgia's rankings. I think will be interesting to look at. A lot of talent all over the nation, and some places it's very concentrated, some places it's very well spread out.
Yep. Interesting delivery from Whiteside as he extends his glove towards his hand near his leg as it's outstretched, and Diaz puts a charge into that one into left field for a base hit.
Diaz is putting together a really good day here.
Yeah, we mentioned, I mean, at least from player resume-wise, maybe you could say the least heralded player in this game. But he has shown out quite well for this East Coast Sox lineup so far as they're trying to work their way back into this one, trailing 6-5 in the fifth and the sixth.
And you got Patrick Hassan, the sole Georgia member of this team, coming to the plate.
We're still in the fifth inning, excuse me, jumping ahead of myself. Hassan trying to take advantage here of that base hit from Anthony Diaz. Keep building on this, put some pressure on Whiteside. He's pitching from the stretch for the second time.
There goes the lid. We avoided it for a little bit.
Yeah, we did. If anybody out there is an innovator who can find a way to stop that from happening, there's a lot of players here at Lake Point Sports that could use some help. Swing and a miss.
Oh, the throw back at first, and looks
oh
like
man, it got away from him. We talk about that, how problematic that can be. Montgomery throws over to first, and we see Diaz take off for second base as that ball got all the way into right field.
You had two guys coming back from the bullpen, had to scramble to get out of the way of that too. Yeah, the back pick not always your favorite move. I think maybe Montgomery got a lot of confidence. He's thrown two guys out at second base in this game, caught him stealing, but we'll see if 6-4-3 can hold him off after the error.
Yep, so now a runner in scoring position for Hassan out of North Oconee. Can tie this thing up with a well-struck ball. Doesn't bite on the fastball in the outside corner.
We got two outs here. See if Whiteside can hold them off in this kind of late attempt in this inning to potentially put a run on the board.
Whiteside glances back at Diaz, delivers. Goes breaking ball right down the middle. Hassan stands there frozen, and he goes down on strikes, and 6-4-3 DP able to preserve the 6-5 lead. We'll be back with more from this Game Rewind.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Ricardo Hurtado is taking over on the mound for East Coast Sox here in the sixth inning. He'll be facing off against Austin Tambora, Amari Griffin, and Frankie Boyle for 6-4-3 DP, who lead 6-5. Hurtado fastball around 85 as he misses inside to Tambora. That one at 84 miles an hour. He tops out at 85 along with a changeup that goes 78-79 and a curveball that is around 76. A high setup from the Orange Lutheran righty. Goes back to the fastball at 84.
Tambora barely gets a piece of that one, just leaves it sitting right between his legs.
There's breaking ball there at 75, and Tambora loses his footing a little bit on that swing.
Kind of an awkward defensive swing there to foul that one off, but this is definitely the part of the lineup you want to see if you're if you're 6'4", got a slow-mo replay here for the next pitch. I guess the first play, not a replay, but it's a ball to Tambora from Hurtado. But, yeah, definitely the part of the lineup you want to see for 6'4" when you're looking for some ever-important insurance runs late in this game.
So the count's now going to be 1-2. Tambora can reach and try to, again, you mentioned, provide that insurance run. And spikes that one in front of the plate, and Quinley watches that one bounce back. So now got a full count to Tambora. Comes the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss by Tambora. Takes 6 pitches, but he gets him down on strikes for the first out.
Yeah, Hurtado showing some pretty solid velo in this at-bat. 84 2 times, and he goes 85 on that miss before that, and then 83 on the fastball there. Showing some good velo and sitting down Austin Tambora.
So now he'll see Amari Griffin. Griffin again out of holy innocence. He's going to be followed by Frankie Boyle, who had that 3-run triple. Back-to-back fastballs, watches the first one for a strike and fouls that one off, 83 and 84 miles an hour respectively. Hurtado working pretty quick.
Yeah, moving really fast here, trying to make things happen. Misses on that one, so it's going to be a 1-2 count, but
that was a changeup at 78.
Trying to roll things along, definitely moving quickly.
Missed down in the zone. That one is going to make it 1-2.
Yeah, back-to-back changeups there that missed. Probably go back to your fastball here that had him thinking about it on those first 2 pitches. Ooh, just barely misses.
He does go fastball. A couple low misses here. The count's now going to be 3-2.
Back-to-back 3-2 counts. Last time got Tambora swinging on the fastball down the middle. See what he brings here.
Gets him inside, gets Amari Griffin looking for the second strike. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hurtado here to start off the 6th.
I think this is now the 3rd inning where we've had back-to-back strikeouts to start off the inning.
Frankie Boyle's last time up resulted in a 3-run triple. Tied things up, and now his team up 6-5. First pitch, breaking ball, 75. Nice break on that one. You gotta like pitchers who are just like, get in there and let's go. You know, guys who are just set up and ready to roll, and Hurtado is definitely that.
Yeah, when you can dominate the pacing of an at-bat like this, it's a huge advantage to the pitcher. I mean, you're pretty much ready to go as soon as that batter steps in and is ready, and you see that. He puts his bat in both hands, and Hurtado's ready to run.
Boyle puts that one on the ground. Shortstop has it on the run, gathers, throws in time, able to end it. 3 up, 3 down, 4-6-4-3 DP. We'll see if the East Coast Sox can respond. They trail 6-5 as we move along to the bottom of the 6th in this Game Rewind.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
Time is a factor in this one. We are in bracket play, but this is going to potentially be the last at-bat for East Coast Sox, who trail 6-5. They either walk this thing off or force extra innings as we are out of time on the clock, and this one, Jaden Whiteside back on the mound for 6-4-3. He's got Brody Wilson, followed by Eli Quinley, and then the top of the order was Stephen Bobo, as that's in for a strike.
And this just all the way through this game, been incredible back and forth play. I mean, you have early runs that immediately get answered, and then some big innings that once again immediately get answered. 6-4-3 jumps out to that one-run lead late, and now we see East Coast Sox potentially up against it here, trying to make things happen.
Yeah, evenly matched is, I think, how you define this one for sure, as Whiteside skips that one in front of the base, and now we have a 2-2 count to Wilson.
Kind of lost it there as well, so 3 consecutive balls sets up the full count now.
Last thing Whiteside wants to do is allow a base runner, as his team is up 6-5, trying to earn a spot in the semifinals. That one's on the ground. Shortstop has it. That was the spot Whiteside was at, and that one sails away from the first baseman, so Wilson's going to find himself standing at first base. We talked about it, the great defensive work we saw from Whiteside early in this game, and since he's moved out of that spot, we've seen a couple errant throws.
Yeah, it's just it's a tough position to be in. I think as the fielder that gets subbed in at short is just kind of getting thrown into the fire. Whiteside, like we talked about, was getting a ton of usage and had to make quite a few plays at shortstop in this game, and now the ball's continuing to get to the shortstop, and you're just missing that glove, but of course can't really take it away. He's been pitching pretty well. Bunt up in the air, just out of the reach at third base. And this is actually a pinch hitter here. Remington Crum, I believe, is who steps to the plate.
All right, so Crum takes Quinley's spot.
Tries to bunt once again.
Crum from Rocky Bayou Christian School in Florida, 2027, 5'11", 160-pounder.
Yeah, 2022-2023 junior future gamer.
And that was in Virginia, D.C., and now he's found himself in the state of Florida. Whiteside with the flip over to first to keep Wilson in place.
So now with 2 strikes on Crum after the 2 bunt attempts that went foul. See what he does here. Still trying and
bunts that one back foul, and he'll go down on strikes.
You don't see that too often. I think it's a tough spot to come into as a pinch hitter. I'm sure coach just told him, hey, lay a bunt down, whatever you can
regardless.
Do. But honestly, on 2 of the 3 of those, maybe all 3, you should have pulled the bunt back and given yourself a little more life.
Yeah, he saw 3 pitches, and not a one of them was a strike. First pitch swinging off Bobo's bat. That one goes into right field for a base hit. Stephen Bobo has East Coast Sox threatening now.
That was fielded, and they got the out.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was a weird reaction out there in the outfield, but
yeah, it looked as though he dropped it.
Yeah. No, they got the out there at first base, and when he went to throw back to second base, it seemed like he almost didn't. He wasn't sure if he stepped on first, so he had to step again, and then the throw was late, getting over to second base. But yeah, kind of an odd. It seemed like the defense was a little bit confused on that one too, so certainly threw us off here.
Well, there's now 2 down for Ricardo Hurtado as he sends that first pitch from Whiteside foul. Runner will take off and return to second.
Things moving quickly now.
East Coast Sox down to their last out.
You do have the runner in scoring position. Caruso there.
Yeah, courtesy runner standing at second base took over for Wilson. Hurtado watches that one miss high, 77 miles an hour to run the count even. Whiteside with the throwback over to second. Not in time. Really quick reaction, though. Man, that was a quick spin from Whiteside to try to get Caruso napping.
Wouldn't that be a great way to end the game?
Comes a 1-1 Just misses on that breaking ball. 67 miles an hour. Counts now 2-1.
Thought he might have had him right there.
Hurtado not biting, but East Coast Sox still down to their last out. Hurtado puts that one on the ground. Second base has it, throws in time to finish it off. 6-4 3DP, hold on. They are 6-5 winners over East Coast Sox, and they would find themselves in the semifinals of the National Program Invitational's 15U bracket. And spoiler alert, they would go all the way towards winning this thing, and just a really dominant run as they would outscore Soldier Specs and Excel Blue Wave 8-1 over the next 2 rounds, including capping it off with a 3-1 win over Excel in the title game. And just, I know you can't say enough about 6-4 3DP and East Coast Sox, and this thing was neck and neck for a long time. 2 very evenly matched squads, and we just saw some timely hitting. And certainly 6-4 3DP lucky to get out of here with a 6-5 win.
Yeah, there's just so many times where they just stepped up. And you had individual players stepping up in different spots. You had, Tambora came in to pitch in kind of a tough spot. And yeah, he did give up 2 runs, but, you can't fault him for that because he had moments as well offensively. You had huge defensive moments really on both sides to keep these teams in. But yeah, just when it comes down to coming up clutch, 6-4-3 certainly did that all throughout this game.
Matthew Kelly with a couple RBI, the Miami commit for East Coast Sox. Meanwhile, Anthony Diaz goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. And then, of course, 6-4 3DP get the big blow from Frankie Boyle, who got himself a triple. Jaden Whiteside with a triple of his own, as again they're able to get out. Yeah,
phenomenal day for Jaden Whiteside.
Yeah, he was absolutely finished it off on the mound. He had himself a great day as the ball kind of glances in there while they're all sitting together on the mound. But a big performance for 6-4 3DP, again on their way to the 15U championship in the National Program Invitational. And that'll do it for this Game Rewind in our Game Rewind series, as we are now awaiting the beginning of live baseball back here at the Lake Point Sports Baseball Village, beginning with the Georgia Dugout Club Tournament February 14th and 15th. They'll be back for the 21st and 22nd. So make sure, if you're so inclined, to join us here in person at Lake Point Sports, where you'll be able to find our live broadcasts available on X, YouTube, and Facebook. And also make sure you're following us across all of our social media channels for all the great content that we pump out across campus. So until next time, for Grayson Rosen, I'm Cory McCartney.